Lisa Franklin stood at the viewport of Vega Prime's command center, her tired eyes fixed on the dark shapes hovering in orbit. The alien ships had been there for 3 months now. At first, there were only 5. Now there were over 30. How many people still need to get to the underground shelters? Lisa asked. Alan Patel checked his tablet. About 200. We should have everyone below ground by tomorrow. Lisa nodded. She had been the colony governor for just 7 months when the Cricks arrived. No one had expected aliens to find their small mining colony. Vega Prime wasn't rich in resources or strategically important. It was just home to 4,000 people trying to build new lives far from Earth. "Governor, we need to talk about the food situation," said Heather Bennett, the colony's doctor. "At current rations, we have maybe 5 weeks left." Lisa turned away from the viewport. The command center was dimly lit to save power. The faces of her team looked pale and drawn in the blue emergency lights. "What about the northern greenhouse complex?" Lisa asked. "Cricks destroyed it yesterday," Alan said. "We lost 3 militia members trying to defend it." Lisa closed her eyes for a moment. 3 more dead. She had stopped asking for names. It hurt too much to know them. "We need to send a distress call," Greg Summers said from his communication station. "I know we've talked about this before, but we're out of options." Lisa looked at him. Greg was young, barely 25, but he was the best communications tech they had. His normally cheerful face was serious now. "Earth is 6 months away at maximum speed," Lisa said. "Even if they sent ships the moment they got our message, we'd be long dead before they arrived." "But someone might be closer," Greg argued. "There are other colonies, other ships. We can't be the only ones out here." Lisa looked around the room. Alan's militia had been reduced from 200 to less than 60. Heather was treating wounded with dwindling supplies. Their last scout ship had been shot down a month ago. "Do it," Lisa finally said. "Send the call on all frequencies." Greg's fingers flew over his console. "I've been working on boosting our transmitter range. I can get maybe an extra 20% power, but it'll burn out the system within a few days." "Doesn't matter," Lisa said. "We won't need it for long either way." The room fell silent as Greg prepared the message. Lisa stepped forward to the microphone when he nodded. "This is Governor Lisa Franklin of the Earth colony Vega Prime. We are under attack by an alien force we identify as the Cricks. Our defenses are failing. We have approximately 4,000 civilians with limited supplies and ammunition. If anyone receives this message—" She paused, fighting to keep her voice steady. "If anyone receives this message, we request immediate assistance. This may be our final transmission." Greg hit the broadcast button. "Sending on all frequencies, maximum power." Outside the viewport, one of the Crick's ships fired on a section of the colony. The ground shook beneath their feet. "They're targeting the Eastern Water Reclamation Plant," Alan said, checking his displays. "I'll send a team to check for survivors." Lisa watched as a small group of militia members ran toward the rising smoke. In the distance, she could see the dark shapes of Crick's landing craft descending toward the colony's edge. "No one's coming, are they?" Heather asked quietly, standing beside Lisa. Lisa didn't answer. They both knew the truth. No ship could reach them in time. No one could cross that distance fast enough. The distress call wasn't really a call for help anymore. It was a record, a final message to let Earth know what had happened here. "We should get below," Lisa finally said. "We'll need to organize the remaining supplies." As they left the command center, Greg stayed behind, monitoring the signal as it traveled into the darkness of space, a message no one would hear in time. Donna Wright removed her headset and rubbed her tired eyes. She had been on duty for 16 hours at the Earth Fleet Command Communications Center. Most days were quiet. Today was different. "Sir, I think you need to hear this," she called to her supervisor. The faint signal had appeared 20 minutes ago. At first, she thought it was just background noise from a distant star, but there was a pattern. A voice, breaking through static. Fleet Admiral John Miller arrived at her station 5 minutes later. He was a tall man with gray hair and a stern face that rarely showed emotion. "Play it again," he ordered. Donna nodded and adjusted the controls. The message played, broken and distorted. "This is Governor Lisa Franklin. Earth Colony Vega Prime. Under attack. Alien force. Cricks. Defenses failing. 4,000 civilians. Request immediate assistance." "When did this come in?" Admiral Miller asked. "Just now, sir. Based on the signal degradation, it's coming from the Vega sector." Miller's face darkened. "Vega Prime is 6 months away at our fastest speeds." "Yes, sir. Even if we send ships now, they'll be dead before we arrive." Miller finished her sentence. He stood silently for a moment, then reached for the secure comm unit on his belt. "Get me the Defense Secretary. Priority Alpha." 3 hours later, Admiral Miller stood in a secure conference room deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. The walls were lined with screens showing military leaders and government officials. The Defense Secretary was speaking. "Vega Prime isn't just any colony. It's a critical forward position. If the Cricks take it, they'll have a direct path to 3 other human settlements. We can't reach them in time with conventional ships," someone pointed out. Admiral Miller stepped forward. "There is one option." The room fell silent. "The Ghost Fleet." Murmurs spread through the room. The Ghost Fleet was never discussed in official meetings. "Those ships have never been tested in combat," an older general objected. "Their FTL drives are experimental at best," added a science advisor. "The risk of catastrophic failure is high." Miller looked around the room. "If we do nothing, Vega Prime falls. 4,000 people die. And the Cricks gain a foothold in that sector." The Defense Secretary leaned forward. "How soon could the fleet deploy?" 12 hours, Miller replied. "Captain Cooper and his crews have been running drills for 3 years. They're as ready as they'll ever be." The debate continued for another hour, but Miller knew the decision was already made. As he left the mountain complex, he issued orders to prepare the Ghost Fleet for immediate deployment. At the orbital shipyards above Earth, Captain Sam Cooper received the alert on his private channel. He had been waiting for this call for years, though he had hoped it would never come. "All crew to report to stations," he ordered through the ship-wide comm. "This is not a drill." The Vengeance was the flagship of the Ghost Fleet. From the outside, it looked like a predator, all sharp angles and matte black surfaces that absorbed light rather than reflected it. 6 other ships of similar design floated nearby, their crews rushing to prepare for departure. Mary Dawson, the chief engineer, met Cooper on the bridge. "The FTL cores are charging, but I need to remind you of the risks. We've never jumped this far before." "What are our chances?" Cooper asked quietly. "Of reaching Vega Prime?" "About 70%. Of the cores not destroying us in the process." "I'd say the same." Cooper nodded. "Better odds than the colonists have if we don't try." Throughout the ship, crew members prepared for what could be a one-way journey. They had all volunteered for the Ghost Fleet, knowing what it meant. They were the last resort, the option that officially didn't exist. 6 hours later, the 7 ships moved away from Earth orbit, their conventional engines glowing softly against the darkness of space. Once they cleared the safety perimeter, they would attempt what no human ship had ever done, and FTL jumped far beyond the tested limits of their experimental drives. Aboard the Vengeance, Cooper gave the order that would either save Vega Prime or destroy them all. "Prepare for FTL jump." The 7 ships of the Ghost Fleet hung in the darkness of space, far from Earth's orbital traffic. No other vessels were allowed within 500 miles of their position. Their black hulls absorbed the distant sunlight, making them look like holes cut into the starfield. "All ships report ready for jump," said Rick Powell, the science officer on the Vengeance. His voice was steady, but his hands trembled slightly as he worked the controls. Captain Cooper stood at the center of the bridge. The crew was silent, each person focused on their station. They all knew what was at stake. Give me ship status, Cooper ordered. FTL cores at full charge, Marie replied from engineering. All systems green, but the containment fields are already showing stress. We've never pushed them this hard. Tactical systems online. Veronica Hayes reported from her station. Weapons hot and ready. Cooper nodded. The weapons on these ships had never been used in real combat. They were built using technology found in a crashed alien ship 30 years ago. Most people on Earth didn't know they existed. Open channel to all Ghost Fleet ships, Cooper said. When the channel opened, he spoke clearly. This is Captain Cooper. We are about to attempt something no human vessel has done before. The jump to Vega Prime should take 6 months at normal speeds. We're going to try to make it in under 12 hours. He paused. I won't lie to you. This is dangerous. The FTL cores could fail. But if we succeed, we save 4,000 lives on Vega Prime. That's why we're here. That's why the Ghost Fleet exists. He closed the channel and turned to his navigation officer. Paul, start the jump sequence. Paul Bennett's fingers moved across his console. Jump sequence initiated. All ships synchronized. FTL cores spinning up to maximum. The bridge lights dimmed as power flowed to the experimental engines. A low hum built throughout the ship, rising in pitch until it was almost painful to hear. Core stability at 90%. Marie reported from engineering, her voice tense. 85%. Holding there. 10 seconds to jump, Paul announced. Cooper gripped the arms of his command chair. All hands. Brace for FTL. The countdown reached 0. The stars outside the viewports stretched into lines of light, then vanished entirely. The ship shuddered violently. Warning alarms blared across the bridge. Hull stress exceeding safety limits, shouted Marie over the comm. The core is fluctuating. Cooper couldn't respond. An invisible force pressed against his body, making it hard to breathe. His vision blurred at the edges. Around him, crew members gripped their stations, some crying out in pain. They were traveling through something the scientists called fold space, a layer of reality where normal physics didn't apply. The Ghost Fleet ships were tearing holes in space-time, forcing their way through to Vega Prime. Time lost all meaning. Cooper couldn't tell if seconds or hours were passing. Strange lights flashed outside the ship, colors that didn't seem to exist in normal space. Core temperature critical. Marie's voice cut through the chaos. The Harbinger is losing containment. Through the distortion, Cooper saw one of the fleet ships begin to break apart, its hull glowing with unnatural energy. Then it vanished in a flash of light. The Spectre is reporting severe damage. Veronica reported. They're venting atmosphere, but still in the jump. Cooper tried to respond, but the pressure was too intense. Dark spots filled his vision. Around him, crew members were passing out at their stations. Just when he thought they would all die, the pressure suddenly released. The ship gave one final violent shake, then steadied. Jump complete, Paul gasped, blood trickling from his nose. We made it. Cooper looked at the main viewport as it cleared. A planet hung in space before them, Vega Prime, and surrounding it was the Crix Armada, dozens of alien ships in attack formation. Damage report, Cooper ordered, his voice rough. The Harbinger is gone, Veronica replied quietly. The Spectre and the Phantom are damaged but operational. The other ships report ready. Cooper stood slowly, his legs unsteady. Signal the fleet. Prepare for battle. A week had passed since Lisa Franklin sent the distress call. Things on Vega Prime had gotten much worse. Heather Bennett worked in what used to be the colony's cafeteria, now converted into a makeshift hospital. 20 injured colonists lay on cots and tables. Medical supplies were running dangerously low. I need more bandages, she called to her assistant. We used the last clean ones this morning. The young man replied. We're washing the used ones, but they're not dry yet. Heather wiped sweat from her forehead and moved to her next patient, a woman with a deep burn on her arm from a Crix energy weapon. All Heather could do was clean it and hope for the best. Outside, the sound of distant explosions echoed across the colony. The Cricks were getting closer every day. In the underground command center, Lisa studied the latest reports. Half the colony was now in Crick's hands. The alien forces moved slowly but steadily, destroying everything in their path. "Governor, we have a problem," Alan Patel said as he entered the room. His uniform was dirty and torn. He hadn't slept in days. "The Cricks have taken the Western Water Processing Plant. We're down to the emergency reserves." Lisa closed her eyes for a moment. "How long will those last?" 3 days, maybe 4 if we cut rations again. "And food?" 2 weeks at current rations. Lisa nodded. They wouldn't die of hunger. The Cricks would reach them long before that happened. "What about the bunker?" she asked. "Almost ready. It's not big enough for everyone, but we can fit about 500 people. The walls are thick enough to withstand Crick's weapons, at least for a while." "Choose who goes in," Lisa said quietly. "Children first, then anyone with skills will need to rebuild, if we get the chance." Ellen didn't argue. They had moved beyond moral debates. This was about survival now. Across the colony, Kevin Howard led a small team through the ruins of the Eastern District. They moved carefully, avoiding open areas where Crick's scouts might spot them. "There's the supply depot," Kevin whispered, pointing to a small building ahead. "If the Cricks haven't found it yet, there should be food and medicine inside." The 4 men and women with him checked their weapons. They had a mix of colony security pistols and hunting rifles. Nothing that could really hurt the Cricks, but enough to slow them down. "We go in fast, grab what we can, and get out," Kevin said. "No heroes today." They moved quickly across the open ground to the depot. The door was still sealed, a good sign. Kevin entered his security code, and the lock clicked open. Inside, the shelves held precious supplies: medical kits, emergency rations, water purifiers. They began filling their backpacks. "Movement outside," one of the team whispered. Kevin moved to the small window. A Crick's patrol was moving down the street. 5 alien soldiers in their distinctive armor. Their bodies were tall and thin, with 4 arms and smooth, featureless helmets. "Stay still," Kevin ordered. "They might pass by." But the Cricks stopped in front of the depot. One of them pointed a scanner at the building. "They know we're here," Kevin said. "Back door, now." The team ran for the rear exit, but as they opened it, 2 more Cricks were waiting. Energy weapons fired, cutting down 2 of Kevin's team instantly. Kevin and the others returned fire, their bullets bouncing harmlessly off the Cricks' armor. They retreated back inside, barricading the doors. "Central, this is Howard," Kevin called into his radio. "We're trapped at Supply Depot 4, Crick's forces outside. 2 down, 3 of us left." Ellen's voice came back, distorted with static. "Hold position. We're sending help." Kevin knew no help would come in time. They all knew it, but they would fight anyway. In her quarters, Lisa's 8-year-old daughter Amy found a box of old belongings while looking for her favorite toy. Inside was a patch with an Earth military symbol, a sword and stars. Under it were photos of Lisa in a uniform. Mom was a soldier, Amy said to herself, running her fingers over the patch. She had heard stories about Earth's military might, about ships that could cross the stars in moments, about weapons that could destroy planets. But those were just stories. No help was coming from Earth, not in time. Above the colony, the Crick's commander prepared for the final assault. Zextal stood on the command deck of his ship, looking down at the human colony. The Crick's commander had conquered 3 planets before this one. Vega Prime would be his 4th victory. "The humans have retreated to their central compound," his second-in-command reported. "Our ground forces will breach their final defenses within hours." "Good," Zextal said. His voice was deep and metallic through his translator. "Prepare the final assault. I want this finished today." "Yes, Commander." Should we offer surrender terms? Zexthal considered this. Yes. Tell them they may live if they submit to Crick's authority. It will break their spirit when they realize no one is coming to help them. On the surface, Lisa Franklin received the Crick's message in the command center. The alien's face filled the screen, 4 yellow eyes blinking independently of each other. Humans of Vega Prime. The translation read, "Your defenses are broken. Your supplies are gone. No help is coming. Surrender now and live as Crick's subjects, or die within hours." Ellen looked at Lisa. "They're right. We can't hold out much longer." Lisa stared at the message. "How many people can we fit in the bunker now?" "Just over 600. It's all we could manage." "Get them inside. Everyone else." She couldn't finish the sentence. Suddenly, one of the communications officers shouted, "Governor, I'm picking up strange energy readings in orbit. In space above Vega Prime, reality tore open in 7 places around the planet. The fabric of space-time ripped apart, creating swirling vortexes of energy and light. The Crick sensors detected the disturbances immediately. Unknown phenomenon. A Crick's officer called out, "Energy readings off the scale." Zexthal moved to the sensor display. "Is it a natural event?" Before the officer could answer, 7 ships emerged from the vortexes. Black ships, shaped like predators, with no visible engines or lights. Ships that seemed to absorb the starlight around them. "Human vessels," the officer said in disbelief. "But that's impossible. No human ship could reach here so quickly." In the colony command center, the same officer who had detected the energy disturbances was now shouting again. "Ships, human ships in orbit. They're engaging the Crick's fleet." No one believed him at first. Alan rushed to the console. "That's impossible. No one could have reached us this fast." On the main view screen, they could now see it. Dark ships moving among the Crick's vessels. Human ships where none should be. Aboard the Vengeance, Captain Cooper stood at the center of the bridge. His crew was tired from the jump, but alert and ready. "All ships report battle stations," Veronica reported. "The Spectre and Phantom are damaged but combat capable." "Open a channel to the Crick's fleet," Cooper ordered. When the channel was ready, he spoke clearly. "Attention Crick's forces. This is Captain Sam Cooper of the Earth Fleet. You are attacking the human colony. Leave now or be destroyed." On the Crick's command ship, Zexthal heard the message with disbelief. "How did they get here?" he demanded. "Earth is 6 months away." His officers had no answer. The impossible had happened. "It doesn't matter," Zexthal decided. "They are only 7 ships. We have 30. Destroy them." The Crick's fleet turned their weapons on the Ghost fleet. Energy beams lanced out, striking the black hulls of the human ships. Paul Bennett reported from his navigation station. "The Cricks are firing on us, Captain. Their weapons are powerful, but our hulls are holding." "Return fire," Cooper ordered. "Show them what these ships can do." Veronica activated the weapons systems, targeting Crick's vessels. Gravitational disruptors online. Weapons unlike anything seen before in human space activated on the Ghost Fleet ships. Not energy beams or missiles, but something far stranger. Weapons that bent the fabric of space itself. In the colony, people watched the battle through telescopes and sensors. They saw Crick's ships begin to break apart, crushed by invisible forces. "Those aren't normal weapons," Alan said in awe. "What kind of ships are those?" Lisa watched the screen, hope rising for the first time in months. "They came," she whispered. "Someone actually came." Above them, the impossible battle continued. 7 human ships against 30 Crick's vessels. And the humans were winning. The Ghost Fleet ships moved with impossible speed between the Crick's vessels. Their black hulls seemed to drink in the enemy fire, absorbing energy beams that should have torn them apart. 3 Crick's ships destroyed, Veronica reported on the Vengeance's bridge. "Their fleet is regrouping." Captain Cooper nodded. "They're surprised. They've never seen our technology before." He turned to Rick Powell. What's the status of our gravitational weapons? Working beyond expectations, the science officer replied. The weapons are creating micro-black holes inside the Krix ships. They're being crushed from the inside. Outside the viewports, another Krix ship broke apart, its hull crushed by invisible forces. Captain, the Krix are launching fighters, Paul warned from navigation. Cooper turned to his communications officer. Signal the Spectre. Tell Olivia to launch her squadron. From the side of the carrier ship Spectre, small craft emerged. They were angular and black like their motherships, but more agile. Lieutenant Olivia Rodriguez led the fighter squadron, her voice calm over the comm system. Alpha Squadron, form up. Target Krix fighters but stay clear of the capital ships. Let the fleet handle those. 20 fighters accelerated toward the incoming Krix craft. Unlike traditional space battles, there were no bright energy beams or explosive missiles. The Ghost Fleet fighters used silent weapons that distorted space around the enemy ships, causing them to break apart or implode. On the Vengeance, Cooper watched the battle unfold. We're winning in space, but the colony is still under attack. We need to help the ground forces. Commander Taylor's Marines are ready for deployment, Veronica reported. Cooper gave the order. Send them in. From 3 of the Ghost Fleet ships, drop pods launched toward the planet's surface. Each pod carried 5 heavily armored Marines, led by Commander Eric Taylor. The pods crashed into the ground near the colony's perimeter. As they opened, the Marines emerged in black armor that seemed to bend light around it. Alan Patul was organizing the last of the militia defenses when the pods landed. At first, he thought they were Krix reinforcements. Then he saw the Earth symbols on their sides. "Hold your fire," he shouted to his people. "They're human." Commander Taylor approached, his helmet retracting to show his face. "Commander Eric Taylor, Earth Fleet Marines. We're here to help." Alan could hardly believe it. "How did you get here so fast? Earth is 6 months away." "That's classified," Taylor replied. "What's your situation?" "Bad. The Krix have us surrounded. They were about to launch their final assault when your ships arrived." Taylor nodded. "Show me your defenses. My Marines will support your positions." In orbit, the battle continued. The Krix ships fought fiercely, but they were outmatched by the strange technology of the Ghost Fleet. "Krix flagship attempting to retreat," all reported. Cooper shook his head. "We can't let them escape to warn others about our capabilities. Target their engines." The Vengeance fired its main weapon. There was no visible beam, but space itself seemed to warp between the human ship and the Krix flagship. The alien vessel shuddered, then began to break apart. On the planet's surface, the colonists watched in amazement as the Krix ground forces suddenly began to retreat. Their commander was dead, their ships being destroyed in orbit. The Earth Marines, with their advanced weapons and armor, pushed forward alongside the colony militia. Where the colonists had been fighting a losing battle for months, they were now advancing. Kevin Howard, who had been trapped in the supply depot, emerged to find Marines clearing the area of Krix troops. "I don't understand," he said to one of the Marines. "How did you get here so fast?" The Marine just shook his head. "Above my pay grade, buddy. Just be glad we made it." In the colony command center, Lisa watched the battle reports with growing hope. The impossible had happened. Help had arrived in time. "Governor," one of her staff called out. "There's a message from the Earth Fleet. Their captain wants to speak with you." On the screen, Captain Cooper appeared. His face was tired but determined. "Governor Franklin, this is Captain Cooper of the Vengeance. We're securing orbit now. The Krix fleet has been neutralized." Lisa found her voice despite her shock. "Captain, how did you reach us so quickly?" Cooper's expression remained neutral. "We'll explain everything once the situation is secure. For now, know that Earth didn't abandon you." As Lisa looked around at her staff, she saw something she hadn't seen in months. Smiles. Hope. The belief that they might survive after all. 3 days after the battle, Vega Prime was beginning to recover. The Crick's forces were gone. The colonists had emerged from their shelters, blinking in the sunlight of a world that was still theirs. Captain Cooper's shuttle landed in the center of the colony. He stepped out wearing his formal uniform, followed by several officers. Lisa Franklin waited to greet them, her own clothing clean for the first time in weeks. "Captain Cooper," she said, extending her hand. "I still don't know how to thank you." Cooper shook her hand. "No thanks needed, Governor. We did what had to be done." They walked through the colony together. Everywhere, Earth Marines worked alongside colonists to repair buildings and clear debris. The black ships of the Ghost Fleet could be seen in the sky above, maintaining their guard. "You still haven't told me how you got here so quickly," Lisa said. "Earth is 6 months away at maximum speed." Cooper looked around to make sure no one was close enough to hear. "What I'm about to tell you is classified at the highest level. Only a few people on Earth know the truth." Lisa nodded, understanding the seriousness of his tone. "The Ghost Fleet doesn't exist, officially," Cooper continued. "Our ships use technology that Earth governments deny having. Technology we developed in secret after our first contact with alien species. From the crashed ship 30 years ago," Lisa said, remembering old stories. Cooper looked surprised. "You know about that?" "I served in military intelligence before becoming a governor." There were rumors. They reached a quiet spot overlooking the colony. Cooper pointed to his ships in orbit. "Those vessels can bend space-time. The trip that should take 6 months took us 12 hours. The weapons we used against the Cricks manipulate gravity itself." He paused. "Earth presents itself to the galaxy as peaceful and technologically limited. But behind that mask, we've been preparing for war." Lisa understood now. A hidden fleet, secret weapons, all built in case we needed them. Exactly. We hoped we never would. In the colony's medical center, Heather Bennett worked alongside doctors from the Ghost Fleet. They had brought supplies and equipment she had only read about in medical journals. "This will heal the burn completely," a fleet doctor told her as he treated a patient with a small device. "No scaring." Heather shook her head in wonder. "Why don't we have this technology in the colonies?" The doctor didn't answer, but his expression told her enough. Some technologies were kept hidden, even from Earth's own people. At the edge of the colony, Kevin Howard stood with Commander Taylor, watching Marines test the soil for Crick's contamination. "Those weapons your people used," Kevin said. "I've never seen anything like them." Taylor nodded. "And you still haven't, officially." Kevin understood. This was to be kept quiet. 2 weeks after the battle, a conventional Earth fleet arrived. 6 standard military vessels, traveling at normal speeds. They had launched immediately after receiving the distress call, not knowing the Ghost Fleet had already saved the colony. Admiral John Miller arrived with this fleet. He met with Lisa Franklin and Captain Cooper in private. "The official story," Miller explained, "is that your distress call reached a nearby patrol fleet that was able to respond. The Ghost Fleet was never here." Lisa frowned. "The colonists saw your ships. They know what happened." "They saw ships," Miller corrected. "In the confusion of battle, details get blurry. Over time, memories change." "You want us to lie," Lisa said. Miller shook his head. "I want you to understand why this must remain secret. If other species learn what we're capable of, it changes everything. Peace exists in our sector because most races think humans are weak." Cooper added, "The Ghost Fleet returns to the shadows. We exist to protect humanity, not to advertise our power." As the conventional fleet established its presence, the black ships quietly departed. One by one, they created their space-time vortexes and vanished. Word still spread, despite the official silence. On other worlds, alien races heard whispers of black ships that appeared from nowhere, of weapons that defied understanding, of a human fleet that didn't officially exist. The Cricks, who had seen humanity as easy prey, withdrew from human space entirely. Other potential enemies reconsidered their plans. As Lisa watched the last Ghost Fleet ship disappear, she understood the truth. Earth appeared peaceful not because it was weak, but because its strength remained hidden, waiting in the darkness between stars, ready to protect its people when called upon.